Oh my goodness.
Are
We're here.
We're there.
We're here. We're live.
We're here.
It's happening.
Is this the non-monetized channel?
This is the non-monetized channel. It only has 190 something subscribers.
I hope I'm coming
So-
through okay.
You're a little low.
Am I a
Little
little
quiet.
low? It's
A
weird.
little quiet.
I'm hitting the yellow here on the microphone. On
me see.
on the thing. Maybe if I change angles. Hey, over here.
Yeah, just a little quieter.
Oh, weird. Okay, I'll have to speak up.
2 streams in 1 week. It's true. Well, Saturday was last week. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. That was 4 hours and 26 minutes, 49 seconds.
that was like 3 weeks worth of streaming.
That was intense. Like I think we only talked about tech for like maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm over the tech.
Are you over the tech?
Yeah.
So this channel is the Painfully Honest live channel. So that means we can talk about anything, right?
We can. Can
we talk about?
I just
COVID?
heard a beep. Oh, we got a guest. He's out there. He's waiting.
Oh, is he there? Okay, let's do it.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
Here we go. Bring
Hey,
him
we're
in.
kicking off this new channel hot.
It is. Are we dropping it like it's hot? Is that how you do it?
I think so. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'd like to see you try.
Andrew's got the guns out.
I know, man.
It's hot over here.
I didn't know we were coming to the gun show.
I would have left my sleeveless on, but nobody wants to see me without sleeves. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah. I try to hide as little of my body as I can, or as much of my body as I can. I try to show as little as possible. You know.
Yeah, man.
I've got the hip hop going here. That's what it says it is.
Hey, can't you control my levels on your end? Didn't you do something last time?
I can turn you up, but
you?
I don't know. It doesn't sound any louder, but I don't know.
I think you should and see what people react to.
How do I sound? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
I mean, you sound like you're on AirPods.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I am.
All right, so let's dive into this. Okay, so
Okay.
the internet. We're not monetized yet, right?
No.
Okay,
No,
so
we're
the
not.
internet lost its fucking mind again because Apple released a product and there were some hot takes. I'm guilty. No, I'm not guilty. I'm not. I asked questions and I was attacked. No, I wasn't attacked. It was a good conversation. This is why Andrew's here today. So Apple released a battery pack which magnetically attaches to the back of the iPhone 12 series, but it's called the Magsafe battery pack. And one of the things that is not clearly stated, which I think is what led to some of the, as Greg McFadden would call them, shitty hot takes, is the milliamp hours, MAH, are not clearly stated. You have to go looking for them. They are there. And our friend Andrew Edwards will go into that. And I think that's probably some of the problem. And now, is that a problem on the part of the reviewer or whatever for not looking for that? Or is there a problem for Apple not showing it? Well, let me just say this. I told this to Jason earlier. Apple does this a lot when they release a phone or battery device or accessory. It'll always be talk time average. We never get to know the milliamps of the new phones. We always find out later on when there's an iFixit teardown or something like that. It seems like it's hard to find. Whereas every other manufacturer, and I'm not saying that Apple has to be, but get on with the times here. You seem to get on with Qi charging. Yes, that was a dig. Everybody else lists, how big their battery is. OnePlus, Samsung, et cetera, et cetera. So that is part of my gripe. But let's talk more about the battery pack and kind of the follow-up and everything. I don't know if Andrew, if you want to lead in from that, or Jason has something. But that's basically what happened today.
Yeah. Before we get into it, I see that a couple of people are saying your levels are still low. Maybe jump out, jump back in. But you've been low since we came on, and I thought you were just further away from the mic. So crank something a little bit. Just turn it knob. So yeah, I actually, I didn't know that this had happened until I saw that Trent's Tech was pimping his video that he did on it. So I was like, oh, okay. And I just went ahead and on the Apple site and bought it, and then found out there was drama. I was like, oh, there's drama. Let's talk about it. So what's the deal, Andrew? What are your thoughts about this guy?
Well, the drama for me has nothing to do with the product and everything to do with misinformation from people who should be trusted sources. That is really my issue. Nothing to do with the if you know what the product is and you think it sucks, that's your opinion, and your opinion I'm not going to say is false or true. But when Apple releases a product and I go on Twitter and I see so many people complaining that it's $100 and 1460 milliamp hours, when I just looked at the website, and again, like I think some people were like, well, Apple can give you no, Apple sent me nothing. I didn't talk to Apple. There was no press. There was no communication from Apple. All I did was go to the website, click on a picture, and read it, which anybody could have done. This is not like I did not do anything special or have any special access. This is something that anyone could have taken 20 seconds to do and chose not to, because it feels like the hot take and the outrage trumps taking a second and finding out the right answer. Like that to me is really what bothers me. And so on Twitter, I was starting to respond to people like, hey, like this is what you're sharing and complaining about isn't true. It's false. And then when people's response is, well, it's still expensive anyway. Like what? You're still spread incorrect information, and so that's the main point.
So my thing with that whole is, I hope my levels are coming through better now. My whole thing is
still sound like you're still sounding really low. I don't know what's going on.
You do sound a little bit far away.
I'm clipping. I'm like on top of my microphone here. Like how's that? Like anyway. Here's the thing. I'm not trying to defend. Okay, we're definitely in like a fog. I think we're past it. Fog of war, right? There's nobody knows what the heck's going on. Okay, but here's the thing, and I'm not defending the people that may have, misinadvertently or maybe didn't go all the way. But go onto Amazon, look up any other battery pack. Look up Pataka's magnetic battery pack, which is very similar. They did it first. Sorry, Apple. And things like that. Everybody lists the milliamp hours. Why? Because of their battery packs, of their magnetic battery packs, of their separate battery packs. Why? Because we always measure our phones and have that stat with all of our phones. Here's how many milliamp hours, and on average, it should be this. So when you don't list it, or the first thing we see is, was it 1465 or whatever it is? First, and you have to go searching at a picture and zoom it in and read that micro. Like it's not even under the specs. Like if you go under manufacturer, there's several different pull downs there. Like when I did through the Apple Store on my phone, it's not even listed there. I had to go in the picture and zoom it in and enhance. And do you know what I mean? Like that's frustrating. Now, I'll give you credit. Yes, Andrew. People should. Okay. Well, what's the next step? Maybe I can go look at the thing, because by law, milliamp hours of water has to be listed on the actual product for safety purposes. Absolutely. Okay. Has to be lithium-ion battery. But like I said, everybody else is listing the actual stuff, right? Like you literally look up Anchor battery pack or whatever, or iPhone battery pack or power bank. What do you want to call it on Amazon? Everybody 30,000, 20,000, 8,000. Et cetera. Everybody else is listing this information that's easily to find. So in some ways, I don't totally blame the people that are maybe like, whoa, how big, where's the information? You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
Do you understand the frustration?
I feel like I never expect any company to do the work for me. So whether it's easy to find or hard to find, like I said, it took me 20 seconds to find it. Like, so, and again, I didn't do anything that no one else could have done. So outrage, like just flipping directly to outrage versus taking a moment to make sure that you're sharing. And again, this is only for creators, obviously, people or journalists, people who other people trust to get their information from. Mm-hmm. That to me, if I could find it in 20 seconds, then no, it's not hard to find. It's not. If I found it that quickly, it's not hard to find. I like, and I said, if that, I think it could have been faster than that. It seems like people just saw, someone else said this, well, I'm going to jump on it too. And now we're all jumping on it. And this has nothing to do with Apple. Like people think I'm trying to defend Apple. I didn't give any opinion of the product. I still haven't. I've never used it. That's another thing. I tell them, like, don't give your opinion on something until you try it. So I haven't tried it yet. I haven't got one in yet. So I have no opinion on it. I just think we need to be better at making sure that when we tell our followers and viewers information, that we're giving them the right information. And if it's hard to find for them, then it's on us to find it. Now, could Apple make it more clear? Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. I am not defending that. All I'm saying is the information was there to find. I found it. Why did no one else find it?
Yeah. I agree with what both of you guys are saying, in the sense that, I think Apple could, even if it's just in the interest of being, similar to the rest of what's going on, Apple could make it more obvious, but typically they don't do that kind of thing. They don't make it obvious on the phones or anything like that. So, I agree that it could be more prominent, but I also think, like, having not been privy to the Twitter thread, but knowing full well from my own experience what that kind of like knee-jerk hot take, no research reaction can be. I've done it myself before and felt like an idiot. So yeah, if you're somebody who is doing this work, like talking to people about tech, and they follow you for information, then it a quick browse around the website before hitting the Twitter button might be a good thing.
Yeah, that was it. That was really my only point is, and it might be a little self-serving too, because self-serving. First of all, I think a lot of us do this less for ego and more for we like it and we want to help others, right? I think that's most of us.
I'm all about the ego. This is just about me.
So if you want to help people, I want to help people. I don't want to be the only one. Like, I don't get joy out of being the only one who looked this up properly. I don't like that, because number two, I feel like it paints all of us negatively in a, like, look at these YouTube tech guys. They can't even get this right. Like that kind of thing. Like, I didn't get it wrong, but everyone else decided to. And so I think that's the self-serving part. I want everyone to do their research before they educate. I don't want it to be like, well, hey, I'm the one who's right all the time, guys. No, that's not what I'm trying to do, and that's not the angle I'm taking. I'm hoping to help make everyone be a little bit better. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
How's this now?
It's still a little low. I don't know. It's got to be.
It is still a little low.
Because it's perfectly fine on my streaming sponsor. I'm not sure why. I don't.
Now here's
I know this was fine the other day too. So it's.
I don't know.
The thing regarding milliamp hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I understand what Zach was just saying a minute ago. It's on the box. This is how people measure. But I feel like, and I'm including myself, you hand me a device and you say, this is 3,000 milliamp hours. This is 4,000. This is 2,800. I do not know what that means as far as battery life. I just don't. Now, if you tell me, here's a phone, and using what Apple usually does is says, if you're doing talk time, this is about 40 hours. If you're listening to music, it's about 20 hours. Video watching, about 18 hours. Well, now that gives me real world information. Just because, like, I feel like milliamp hours is a spec that people will promote, especially on the Android side. Well, mostly on the Android side, because they're the ones that will share it, to show that their phone is better than the other. But it's just a spec that doesn't really tell us anything. And we've seen this where, like, the iPhone 8 Plus, for example, had a smaller battery, almost by half, than some Android devices that year, and lasted as long, if not longer. So what was the point of telling us the milliamp hours? iPhone can have a half as much milliamp hours, but last longer.
So when I was in the industry, as I said there on Twitter, like, one of the things is because the milliamp hours was always something that Android manufacturers always advertised, 4,000 milliamp battery, 3,000, as we've seen it get bigger and bigger and bigger. That is why battery manufacturers started listing that, so that there was a correlation. And then in addition to that, especially on a lot of consumer facing products, of stuff that's hanging in the stores, they would have to list on the package, well, if you have an iPhone 7, you should expect, 2.5 full charges. If you have an iPhone 8, you should expect, 1.5 charges. And those were always the batteries that always pushed really well, because it's one thing to have a sales rep standing there and going, well, your phone has a 2000 milliamp battery. This is a 8000 milliamp battery, so you should have four full charges. Obviously depends on when you charge, and nobody ever goes down to zero, kind of thing, right?
Right.
Are you using it while it's plugged in? By the way, that's the worst thing in the world you could ever do for your battery. Please don't use your phone while it's plugged in, especially if it's on a wireless charger. Holy thermals. But so it'd be up to the rep. But and then I think, for example, for listings on Amazon, you have a little more tech savvy customer, perhaps, maybe. But I also see listings on Amazon where 30,000 battery, and it'll say like, it'll say Samsung Galaxy S10e, so many charges, right? They'll have that in the brackets, like in the big description, like huge, ridiculous, right? But again, what I was told from many manufacturers, and actually told by, I was actually told that by one of the marketing guys at Aoki. I don't know if he's there anymore, or Aoki. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Aoki.
Is it Aoki? Yeah. He told me that the reason they go with milliamp hours, and I remember this from CES 2018, was my first CES. He told me this when I was there, is because the Android manufacturers always list the battery as the first or second spec, like because that's always important to be. How do I have to plug this in all the time, right? Like they go get the new iPhone or new Samsung or whatever it is. They ask the rep, is it going to last longer than my existing? I can barely get it half a day. We always hear that from the typical consumers, right? And so, they start saying, well, 3,000 milliamp battery. So now the customer associates that with X amount of time. Then they can associate that with, okay, here's a 30,000 milliamp battery. Like, I'm just throwing numbers there, right? So that is why that is done, because people know it. Now, I agree with you, Andrew, with the whole measurement, this and that. Like, for example, I told you last year at CES, or a year and a half ago, when I was going through from Vegas back to Canada, TSA was like, well, how many milliamps is this? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to blow up the fucking plane. Like it's an 8,000 milliamp battery, right? How many watts is that? I'm like, I don't know. It's on the bottom here, and then away we go. It's an 18 watt. Okay, right? So and we went, right? So they're looking for that, but on the consumer side, it seems like milliamps. It seems like everybody else is kind of getting along with that, but again, my question, my biggest gripe, this whole thing, is not the capacity, how big it is or the cost of everything that, and I do have opinions about that. My thing is, once again, where are the milliamps listed? And I'm 110% convinced that if that was listed, 3,000 milliamps, let's round up. I'm 100% convinced, Andrew, if that was listed today, we would not have had the shit show that has happened today. I guarantee you, without having to, if it was listed there, I guess easier, or within the description, or within those main specs. Do you know what I mean? Like on the main page there, right there.
I know what you mean. So this is an area that I don't know, so I'm just speculating or wondering. 1460 milliamp hours, 2 cells. By law, is that how they have to put it on there, because it's split into 2 cells? Like, I just don't understand why.
I bet you.
Why wouldn't they put, if they had to pick a number to put on there, why'd they pick the half number versus the double number?
I don't know. Maybe because because it actually is physically 2 cells. So one could possibly. I mean, I'm just saying, because we know this happens with lithium-ion batteries, but one could swell, one could not. Right. So you have to, again, by law. Right. Very interesting. It might be. Hey, there's a video idea. Go.
Right. So yeah. So that could be why they did that. But
so wait, let me understand.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me understand real quick. So it's 1,400 and plus, but 2 cells, so it's double that. So it's about 3,000 milliamp. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, that to me, I think that one thing that's really important that kind of gets lost in the translation when people who regularly talk about Android stuff then sort of like look at the specs for an Apple device or whatever, and Apple just doesn't do it the same as Android does. They don't list their battery sizes.
And that's the thing that bugs my brain, is like, I get why maybe Apple doesn't list that, because they talk in English on their in their stuff. Like I don't know how else to put it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like when I explain a phone to my mother. I don't say to my mother it has a 888 Snapdragon processor, 12 gigabytes of RAM, and a 15 megapixel camera. I say, Mom, it has the latest chip in there, so it's really fast. It's not going to slow down. It's going to take great pictures of your grandchildren. That's what I say.
See,
That's what I say.
I think that if you're buying, okay, so if I was buying a battery like a portable battery to charge my devices or something like that,
Hey,
and I saw 3,000 milliamp hours, I'd be like, okay, so that's not great, whatever. But I think that the purpose of this device is somewhat different from like other device.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I think what Apple is trying to do is take the battery. It's supposed to be an accessory to the phone, as opposed to like an accessory.
Seamless. It's supposed to be seamless. Is
Yeah.
what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll tell you what it's supposed to be. One of the other things people complain about is the 5 watts, which when I first saw it, seeing it being an official MagSafe device, I assumed, oh, this is going to be 15 watts. Because that's MagSafe. That's the full speed of MagSafe. But it's not. It's only 15 watts when plugged in. 5 watts, when you read through the page, Apple talks a few times about prolonging your battery. So if you use like an Anchor charge or something like that,
right,
it's going to charge full speed, or full speed based on what you tell the phone to do. So if you tell your iPhone, for example, to do the optimized charging to when it gets to 80%, then to kind of slow down, the Anchor the phone will pull from Anchor whatever you tell the phone to do.
mm-hmm.
What Apple's doing here, 5 watts, this is a device that is not going to destroy your battery. You're not fast charging on the go. You're not slapping this on your phone when you're like, oh no, I need some charge. This is an accessory that you put on your phone and you just kind of keep there.
right.
So it's almost like, here's an easy way to wirelessly double your battery if you're using an iPhone 12 or 12 Pro. This is how I can just easily double my battery, and it just kind of lives there. They haven't shown the side profile, but I imagine it's a lot thinner than most people think it is.
Yeah, look at the size of the size here of the pack on the Mini.
That's the Mini, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it overtakes the actual back of the phone.
You know what I'm saying? I'm betting it's just as thin as, if not thinner. It can't be any thinner than this Pitaka, for example. Like, this is 4,000.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. But because I know there's a big one that I forget who makes it, but it's like 3 times as thick. And I think some people are thinking it's so thick and it has no power. But really, this is doubling your battery, and your iPhone is sipping from it. And it's not using. So the other thing between this versus a traditional external battery, the iPhone and this are communicating with each other. Right. So if it only needs, let's just say 3 watts or 2 watts, like it's not just a constant stream of power that's going into your battery, and it's also not using the battery as if it's in plugged in mode. Yeah. So a lot of people don't understand this. If you plug in a portable battery bank into your phone doesn't know that it's a battery or if it's plugged into the wall. It treats it as if it's just, you plugged me into power. With this, it knows that this is a battery, and it treats it like a battery. So you're not sipping from the battery until the battery dies and then using your phone's battery. It's in kind of concert with each other.
Do you remember how I mentioned earlier, like the worst thing you can do is use your phone while it's plugged in?
Yes.
I bet you it's not going to be a factor with this Apple thing. I'm betting. Like, it's going to
be. No, not at all.
Because I know that's what people do. I can't even tell you how many 10-foot Apple cords, like, lightning to USB-A, I used to push. And it was always like, why do you sell so many of these? Well, because people are always plugging in their phone and using what they're plugged in, right? And this, like you said, Andrew, is probably going to be optimized. Now, I need to walk back. This is actually a 2,000 milliamp magnetic. Okay, so if this is, and again, this is for the Pitaka. So if this is your Pitaka case on your device, and you can use this on any of them, but you just put that on there. It'll be just like that, and it starts charging. Okay, and that's it. Pretty simple, right? It stays on there. This was a lifesaver for me at CES. So I'm betting I can't be. I imagine Apple made it just as thin. I'll be really impressed if it's thinner and 3,000 milliamps, just like this thing coming up is.
See, the thing that I think is interesting here is because this is the iPhone 12 version of the battery case, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
pretty much what it is. And I mean, when the battery case came out, people had plenty of hot takes about what that looked like and everything too. And so like
Yes.
this is a pretty typical thing for like a new Apple accessory. There's always going to be some kind of big deal. But I think the important thing that the important distinction is that Apple's expecting you to put this on your phone and keep it on your phone, and the operating system can actually, through the Magsafe coils, talk back and forth with this device and alter the way that it's charging and alter the way that the two batteries are working together. That's how the battery cases worked as well.
Mhm.
So this is not this is some kind of smart battery. Sorry,
That's
Starship
basically
Trooper.
what it is.
Yeah.
It is a smart battery. Because another thing, so the Pataka,
Mhm.
I'm going to bet the iPhone sees it as I'm hooked up to a wireless charger.
That's what it
So
sees
I'm
as.
going to use the battery in the wireless charger fully. And then once that's done, I will start using my internal
Yeah,
battery.
it sees it as an 8 watt. It's max 10.
Okay.
I would demonstrate with my iPhone, but this right here, this is my iPhone. Okay, this overhead cam. But yeah, it sees it as a Qi wireless. Basically, I have to basically activate with this. There's a couple. I don't know if you guys can see. There's a couple of lights, LED lights on the bottom here. Might be able to see them. For the LED lights, and away you go. Right. So this is just using Qi technology is what it is, and obviously with the assistance of the Pataka um, MagSafe technology. But like I was telling you, Andrew, I told you privately. I said I'm so passionate about it's so weird to be passionate about an accessory. But when I worked in the industry, I was pushing portable power like crazy, but specific not specific brands, specific features. Okay, I like bricks like this, right here.
Mhm.
But the problem with something like this, well, first of all, this has wireless charging. But the problem with something like this is if you want to use it efficiently as fast as possible, you still have to carry a cable with you, right? Which is why I typically go for something like this. Now, this one's from My Charge. This right here actually has your cable built in. See that? So, like I used this at VidSummit in 2018. Okay, this has a 6,000 milliamp battery. This one right here from Tilt, this is 13,000. Obviously, you don't want to be carrying this around in your pocket, but I mean, it's got USB-C right here. You can also get a Lightning version. It also has USB-A out and USB-C out, LED lights, and for easy charging, you got the prongs right there. So
Right.
these are features I look for. Like I don't want to recharge my power bank. Like I love this Techie one, but it's good. It's only good for certain circumstances. I have to use a separate power cord to recharge it, and this and that. And it does have the prongs, whatever, right? But just some quick tips. I mean, again, go back to the My Charge here prongs. If you can find a bank, whatever it is, if you're not going for this, if you can find something with the cord already built in for your type of device, probably USB Type C, the prongs, and possibly another output, that's a winner right there. Okay, and then you don't have to carry extra. You literally just put
For
this in your
sure.
pocket, right?
Yeah.
So, but if this mag thing is anything, the mag thing here from Apple is anything like what we're speculating, again, being a smart battery, that's going to be even better for people's batteries over the long term because, again, like Andrew said, the optimization there, it's not just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing a charge. It's going, okay, battery needs to cool off, whatever needs to stop, optimization, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the important thing too is like, well, that this is a different kind of device than some of those like plug-in devices that you were just showing off in that it's like meant to be carried around with the phone, et cetera, et cetera. But I wanted to respond to Mike's comment here. I mean, I don't know who's necessarily defending Apple. I think we're just, sort of
No one
discussing
has.
anything.
No one has defended Apple at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we've pointed out where Apple has maybe done some things that could have been done differently to be more clear, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody's defending Apple. We're talking about the products, and the reason that people come out and defend Apple or talk about the products on live streams is because there's a long, 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 long history of when Apple releases anything, there are a billion hot takes that then create a bunch of discussion that then creates a bunch of opportunity to sort of like go back and talk about the pros and cons, the who's right, who's wrong, the the good and the bad about what the device is. I mean, it would be incorrect to say that Apple is not a different company than all the other companies in terms of how what they do is perceived and discussed in the industry and as well as by the public. So I think that, this is pretty typical for an Apple release. There's always something that people are upset about, or it always generates discussion. So I don't think it's a defense of Apple so much.
Like I said, I mean, I'm 100%, I'm 110% convinced that if the milliamp batteries were listed, milliamp amperes were listed, just like most manufacturers, then we wouldn't have this problem. But I do agree with Andrew as well, saying maybe people that classify themselves as reviewers or whatever, or tech, I mean, whatever you're doing to get the information out there, dig a little bit further. Like I didn't even look at that. The first thing I did is I went to my phone. I saw a couple tweets, a couple retweets, and a couple whatever. And I didn't really pay much attention to people talking about, oh, it's a rip off this and that, because it's kind of typical jabber that you hear from people. The first thing I did is, oh, I'm going to check it out on my phone. Like maybe I could just order this today and check it out, on my iPhone 12 when I get it. And I'm looking and going, well, where's the milliamp batteries? Okay, maybe it's under manufacturer. Maybe it's under notices. I'm going, where is it? Where is it? And then that's when I retweeted quote Andrew, right? But I'm glad we got into it, right?
Yeah. Well, and also the important thing to say is, like, Andrew was stating, don't judge it because no one's had it in their hands.
Yeah.
Andrew doesn't have one. I don't have one. Zach doesn't have one. Anybody who was talking about it on Twitter doesn't have one. It was just announced today. I pre-ordered it. It's not coming until the 22nd of this month or the 20th of this month or whatever. Mm-hmm. So the other part of that is, if it was a Samsung battery pack, nobody would give a shit. So nobody would talk about it. That's why nobody would talk about it.
But here's the thing. Like Samsung's had battery packs in the past, and they've actually had some really nice ones, some really nice thin ones. Actually, I still have a couple upstairs. But they list the milliamp batteries, right, or milliamp hours right in the description. You know what? I'm done beating this. I'm done. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Okay? Sorry.
Yeah. So for Mike, I'm not really sure where he's going with this. He's saying I'm the one defending Apple. I don't know how long he's been in this chat. If you've been here from the beginning, I'm not sure how you could say that. The only thing that I've said is I haven't said anything positive or negative about the device because I haven't tried it. So to me, that's called being fair. That's not defending Apple, and that's not putting them down. It's saying I haven't tried it. Why would I give an opinion on something I have not used? Yeah, that would be misinforming people. And by talking about this topic where dozens of people were giving misinformation to their followers and saying, hey, that's not right, you should correct this and give your followers the right information, that is also not defending Apple. That is trying to help fellow creators be better educators. Yeah, that's all that is. I don't see where the Apple defense is here.
At most, it's a critique of the people who were sending the information out without the complete info, as opposed to anything about Apple. I think it's easy to say that if it was a Samsung device and people were putting out incorrect information, then there's just as much chance that Andrew or anybody else would say, "Hey, you guys just had to go to the website to find out the information." Right? The information is right there. The Twitter storm didn't have to happen. At least not in this way, et cetera, et cetera. But so I think part of what Mike's doing here is I'm going to name this type of argumentation right now, and it will be known this forevermore. Uh-oh. This is the Marsha argument. Ooh. Right? Where people who, I don't know what Mike's opinion of Apple is one way or the other, but there's always this, well, everybody does this for Apple, but nobody does it for anything else argument, right? Which to me sounds like Jan from Brady Bunch saying, Marsha, or Cindy, or whoever it was, Marsha. Everybody talks about Marsha, nobody talks about me. That is not an argument. It's not an argument about anything. It's an observation, perhaps, but it's not an argument. It's, if you're watching an Apple heavy channel talk about Apple devices, what do you expect them to do? I mean, they're not necessarily, they're covering the products for their audience, which you may or may not be part of. But I'm going to encourage everyone to refrain from the Marsha argument. Apple gets more play than everybody else does. It's just the way it is, and it's been that way for a long time. You don't have to like it, don't have to participate, but let's not do the Marsha. That's there. That's what I have to say.
If anything, I would say, I mean, if anything, today was kind of an example of what typically happens, just not as pronounced. But I would say more often than not, Apple announces something and it gets hated on before it gets
right
loved on. So like I think the Apple hot take and why I'm not buying this and why this sucks, that happens also way more with Apple than anyone else. So if you're being fair, Apple gets more hate probably than any other tech company as well.
Yeah, and I think, well, when you're a content creator and if you've done it for a while or whatever, when you're a content creator, I think that you kind of get to know where the eyeballs are going to go. Apple hot takes get eyeballs, right? Look at Linus from Linus Tech Tips. I mean, Linus is famous for, having his pants halfway on and going off with an Apple hot take, only to have to come back a month later and pull his pants on all the way and say, "Oh, it's not as bad." He's done that many times. He's made content on
It's
Apple.
Almost a strategy, right? Like it's almost a strategy.
It's 100% a strategy. YouTube almost is a whole different conversation, and I think even Susan Wojcicki recently addressed it. YouTube almost seems to like reward drama.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, I know from being the beneficiary of like
Can you trust
drama
Andrew
views.
Edwards? Did you ever do an Andrew Redwood? Did you?
No, I didn't. It was on the list, but I never got
it.
Yeah, I just kept waiting for Andrew will Andrew and I will get along, and then we'll have an argument. And then so I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it when I'm having an argument. No, I'm just kidding.
So before we move on to the next topic, and I know that Andrew has some things here. Let's just, I guess, kind of wrap this up. I'm assuming you want me to move this on, Jason. But like, is there anything in particular that you guys before today? Don't tell me you're going to wait for this. But before today, that you looked for in a power bank when you were power bank shopping? Like, I know that you guys all have them and everything like that. Andrew, you travel enough that I know you carry them.
Right. The only thing that I looked for was I wanted it to be as close to 100 watt hours as possible because that's the biggest you can take on a plane. So I just wanted the biggest I could take on a plane, and obviously I would want it to have preferably both USB-A and USB-C. And if I had that, I was good. I didn't care about brands or anything else, just 100 watt hours or 99.8 watt hours or whatever.
Right.
I have a RAV Power one that's 28,500, so it's just under like the threshold for 30,000 for in-cabin for most airlines. And I bought it like 6 years ago, and it's still going. It still goes. It uses Qualcomm 2.0 and stuff like that. It's great. Go on, Jason. What do you use? What do you like having? Is there any requirements? Like, do you want to make sure that you have a cable? Is there a particular brand you like? Do you look for something like with Qualcomm 3.0 for fast charging? Like,
honestly, like when I carry one, I carry a small one and only like for emergency use.
Yeah.
Because one thing that's happened in the last several years is across the board, smartphone battery life has improved to the point where I'm very rarely, if I take my phone off the charger and then I'm traveling or something like that, I very rarely get to like a critical point in the day where I'm not near a charger and I'm out of battery.
Yeah.
So I carry something that's maybe around the same size as this, like 3,000-5,000, whatever, something that would be at least one extra charge, but not super heavy and going to weigh me down. Just in case. And I like to have one that I throw in my daughter's backpack too, because I don't want her, like kids tear through the battery life no matter how big the battery is. So I like to have something like that for her as well, just in case. But yeah, I don't typically carry them as like something I use often.
I don't either, unless it's like a CES or like a Vid Summit type thing. You know, a 2 or 3 day trip where I might be on the like sightseeing the most kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in that case, I'm putting either like this in my pocket or this. This is still heavy at 8,000. This is a big boy here. Like I only use this around the house. This we put in our backpack this past weekend because we were carrying a backpack. But if it's just in my pocket, it's either one of these two kind of thing. And like you said, even that's not often because I've talked about this before. The magic number seems like right now lately with most Androids in the last couple of years, at least in my opinion, as a high end user, 4,000 milliamp plus. That's the magic number for an all day use.
Yeah.
Even with heavy video watching, picture taking, I think as long as I'm getting 4,000 milliamps or more, the exception being some of the Pixel phones because of the efficiency they do on there, you know, optimization. As long as I got a 4,000 more amp battery, where we go. And just a side note, kudos to TCL, 5,000 milliamp batteries, awesome.
Yeah. Well, and so Mike's bringing in one final point here. He says the milliamp hours in the phone are important because, as Zach was just saying, you know, 4,000 plus is kind of like the magic number for all day battery life. But when it comes to Apple, I mean, and this is not me defending Apple. This is me spitting facts, as they say, as the kids say. Apple has what, like a 3,300 milliamp hour battery in the plus size or max size phone, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And those
and the
phones
Pixel
get,
as well. The Pixel as well will last a long time without. So again, it's not about the milliamp hours. It's about the efficiency. It's about the optimization.
The Pixel 4a, which I just gave to my wife, has a smaller battery than her Samsung. I'm not going to say which model, but she's getting like a day and a half out of it. And she's taking pictures like, well, she stole it from me because she loves the way it takes pictures. And yesterday was a perfect example. We took over 800 photos yesterday out of Lake Louise because we're just like that. And yeah, and she didn't even hit half battery on it. It's crazy.
So I think that goes back to the whole point, though, of milliamp. What does the milliamp hour tell you? What does a milliamp hour tell you on a Samsung phone versus a Pixel versus an iPhone? You can't just look at that number and know what it means because these different devices use that differently. So to say instead the Pixel will last you this long, the iPhone should last you this long, or like Zach said, if he tells his mom, hey, you can use this phone and it'll last you, that's plain English. Mm-hmm. Apple goes for plain English. And I think that's probably why they shy away from the milliamp hour because it's like, what does that really mean?
Well, I think it just kind of comes back to like how I said, like how it's always like one of those top 3 specs that's always spit out by every Android manufacturer during every presentation. Do you know what I mean? Well, this size camera, this size screen, 4,000 milliamp. You know what I mean? Like it's always one of those top 3, top 4 kind of specs. So it's kind of like it's been drilled in her head over the last few years.
Right? I think also
you magically spit it all the time, I guess.
One of the problems, we have to think historically about Android devices. Android devices back in the early days, battery life was terrible, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the battery life, you were lucky if you were getting like 2 and 3 hours screen on time back in the day. So it, I think that's why Android manufacturers have historically gone to the milliamp hours because people were, they wanted to know. Like, okay, so how big is the battery in that phone that just sucked? Okay, I want a bigger battery. Right? And so I just think the two products have developed differently. And so therefore Apple's just never gone there. I'm not saying Apple's always had an amazing battery life on the iPhone. That's not true either. It's just been measured and discussed differently, right? Mm-hmm. So at the same time, like the one thing I'll say about this accessory right here is that, so I've got the leather case on my iPhone 12 Pro Max. I like the idea that with this, I can just slap that thing on the back of this case if I know that I'm going to be going out for a long period of time or something like that. And I don't have to worry about it. I know that I'm going to get, if it's nearly double the size of the battery that's in there in the first place, then I've got no battery anxiety whatsoever. And that to me is going to be awesome. Right. And it's easy to apply. It's easy to take off. It works seamlessly with the device. I mean, these are the reasons why. These are some of the reasons why people enjoy the Apple ecosystem, because there is that attention paid to everything seamlessly working from one device to the next. I mean, there are tons of examples of it, but when I'm holding my iPhone and I'm watching the Apple TV, right? And I have to put in a password and all of a sudden the keyboard pops up on my iPhone, I'm like, this is like the future. It's so much better than
Simple
having
little
to
things, yeah.
scroll across the screen and single type in your 18 character password or whatever it is. So I mean, it's just those little things that I think are going to make people appreciate this device. It's going to be easy to use. It's the other thing that people are complaining about is the price, $99.
I
It's an
think
Apple
it's
accessory. I mean, this case costs 60. Is it
if
worth
it
that? I don't know, but
if it is as thin, maybe even a little bit more than this, because again we've rounded it up to about 3,000. Agreed. I think that's fair. Also, if it has the quote unquote smart battery type stuff that we talk about here with Andrew, with the optimization, it's not just pushing a charge. It's actually going okay.
right,
It's extending. It's actually helping your battery for the long term, right?
Right.
right.
If it does all those things, and I think the price point. I hate saying this. God, I hate saying this. I think it's priced appropriately. I do. I really do.
Well,
It
and
also communicates with iOS, so you can see your battery. So most battery banks have like the little indicator lights, like one,
Yep.
2, 3, 4. Right
Yep.
now, this will
Yep.
tell you exactly just in iOS. You don't have to. You can pull down. You can see how much battery is left in your
yeah,
battery Magsafe, whatever the hell it's called,
yeah.
to
When you
the
pull
to the
down,
percentage. 22% left. Like you don't have like the little indicator lights. It also is the first and only device that I know of for the iPhone 12 that the iPhone can charge wirelessly. So the iPhone will charge the battery wirelessly.
Mm-hmm.
It'll top up the
right,
battery. So if you put the plug, you can put the plug into the battery and then charge your phone at 15 watts, or you can put the plug into the
vice
phone
versa. Okay,
and then
yeah,
charge the battery. So there's definitely some unique things here that you don't get on other devices, on other external batteries. And
right,
so it's up to you to know what those things are and then determine at that point, okay, it's 99 bucks, but it does all these things that the other thing doesn't do. Is that worth it to me? If all you want to do is charge your phone and you don't care about anything else, $99 is probably not worth it because you can get something cheaper
Yeah.
that probably has more power in it.
Yeah.
But if
right.
you appreciate the lightness, the speltness, and it talking to iOS back and forth and kind of making sure your battery is optimized,
Yeah.
that's where you might
I
care
got a
more
feeling
about it.
these are going to be just like AirPods, like how we talked about at Vid Summit.
Oh, you just see them everywhere?
Well, not just that, but it just works. It's not the most
Yeah,
fat, but it's seamless. I can still put the phone in my pocket. You know what I mean, right? Like, and
yeah.
it's just easy, right? Are there
Hmm.
better? Are there quote unquote faster, more? Absolutely, there will be. But can you put that in your pocket as easy and this and that, right? So
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess we'll see.
I don't think $99 is expensive. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's going to argue that. This isn't going to be an accessory that that a teenager goes out and buys. It's not. It's an iPhone buyer, especially someone who's buying the more expensive versions of the iPhone. Particular kind of customer used to paying a particular dollar, like sort of range of dollar amount for accessories if they're getting Apple branded accessories, OEM accessories. So I don't think it's out of line compared to other Apple accessories. And so therefore, especially if it does have all of those added benefits by being an Apple original accessory, then I think it's gonna be a judgment call. But at the same time, like I bought it right away. A, because I want to make content about it, B, because I like to have just that little bit of extra knowing that I can have that thing and it's just gonna be easy, like life is gonna be easy. So
Yeah.
to me, and I really like Apple accessories in the way that they fit with the devices and work and sort of work together. Like you say, the AirPods. The first time you open up an AirPod case and you're like, oh shoot, it just like the phone just said there it is.
Yep.
It's like those are the things that sort of set Apple apart at this point. And it's
Technology
not
should be, and thankfully it is in the last few years on all fronts, not just Apple, but it should be it shouldn't be difficult. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be my parents calling me all the time, fix this on my computer. You know, like it's
Right.
just, it should be, that's the way it's supposed to be, right? Like, for the
Yeah.
longest time, technology was, it was a nerd thing and geeks and everything like that. And, you know, everybody was going to the one person in the family, whatever. And now, eh, you know, even something as simple that seems simple to us, like is pairing a phone to Bluetooth headphones, even a couple years ago, was sometimes a daunting feature for some
Yeah.
people.
Well,
And if you could just open it and it goes, you know, like, and I'm gonna give TCL another shout out, because with their new S600 Move Audio True Wireless, it was just like that with my Android. So I didn't even have Bluetooth. I just had Bluetooth on. It wasn't even in the mode there on my S21 Plus. And I opened up the things and it popped up and it said right away, found these S600 wireless. Do you want to pair it? Yes, it did. Then it prompted me to download their app and it was done. This was not even on their phone. It was with an Android. That was so Apple-ish. Like, it felt like it, right? Like, okay, we're getting there with Android, right? Nothing against Android, but it's getting there, right? So, I mean,
it
that's
was
the way it should be.
it was always going to be more daunting with Android because I mean it's the same thing with Mac OS and Windows. Windows machines are made by 1,000 different companies making Windows machines. Android devices are made by 1,000 different companies making Android devices. And so there's not that sort of economy of scale where it's like one company is making one accessory for its one device, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they've developed everything from software to hardware from top to bottom. So that's the advantage that Apple has in this arena, is that
Let's
they
talk
only have to
about
worry about Apple.
Franklin's comment a minute ago. He said, is sveltness, because I mentioned sveltness, the sveltness of the battery, a top priority of people who use battery banks? Two answers on that. Number one, people who use battery banks haven't had the option yet for something like this, although the Pataka one that Zach showed is very similar. So I would say for me, I would prefer something, if I'm putting it on the back of my phone that I have to hold, I want it to be as felt and as powerful as possible. I want the impossible. I want it to be super thin and very powerful. That is probably impossible, but I don't want to know it's there, basically. I want the extra battery life, but I don't want it to be annoying. But second of all, when you say, is this a top priority for people who use battery banks? How many people don't use battery banks because they think they're bulky and annoying? This
Well, yeah.
opens up
You wouldn't
to
believe how many
more
people don't even know
people
they exist.
who may. Right, that's true too. There's yeah, you're right. There's people who might not even know these things are out there.
I mean, I went through whole like weekends of doing training seminars and showing the reps, like, this is how you present it. You don't say, hey, Mr. Customer, here's a case, here's a screen protector, because that was what they always had to try to attach for their attachment rates. This is how we presented it. This is the best way to sell it for a practical case. They picked out their phone. They picked out their new iPhone. Okay, so the rep goes in the back. They grab the new iPhone. They grab the new Samsung, whatever. As the phone is sitting there and they're setting up the account, to typing away, they're transferring the phone number over to the thing. They plug in their phone into this power bank. Hey, what is that? That's a battery.
Mm-hmm.
Does that charge my phone? Yeah. How much is that? It's $35. I'll give you 10% off. I mean, that's how we used to push it, right? And that's how. So people had to have a use case. Otherwise, it's just this block that's sitting on the wall. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people, and a lot of consumers are just like, "What is that?" They would come in, they go, "I need a new plug-in, and I need a 25-foot cable." Do you know what I mean? So it can go from behind the bed, past the toaster, and then, you know, do you know what I mean? Right? So, well, I don't know, right?
And the same thing happened. I remember when Samsung was really the first to market like their OEM wireless charging docks heavily. And I remember, I think, what was it, the S9, I think it was, when that was really out there. And they had, I remember going to the Verizon store, and they had those little docks sitting on at every cash register, at every customer service station, you know, every place. And whenever you went to buy that phone, you know, they dropped it right on there as they were preparing your order. Yeah, so it's smart in terms of marketing. But yeah, I think that
I think we're going to see a whole bunch of commercials from Apple probably going into the fall with, like, people click, 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 you know, adding, you know, just like they did with the first Magsafe stuff, like battery, no more wires. I think we're going to see a whole campaign like that very, very, very soon.
And I think also it's going to lead into the iPhone 13, which I really, or 12s, or whatever the hell it's going to be called.
Don't call it 12s. It's not going to go 13.
Yeah.
13 is too controversial.
Yeah. But I mean, I
You're sitting
really
there
think
going,
we're going to see, if not reverse wireless charging with Magsafe, if we don't see that, we're going to see some accessories that take the Magsafe thing a little bit further than what's been done already. I mean, this is really the first, to my knowledge, the first sort of operational accessory to attach to the Magsafe. We had the wallet, right?
Yeah, that is true.
So this is the first
Yeah,
one that actually
everything's been a static, like a tripod mount or a wallet or a case.
right.
There's nothing that's been functional, like you said. And I expect we'll see another level of functionality in the future. I've heard that we'll see MagSafe and the ultra wideband chip kind of work together. And when you put something on MagSafe, you'll have speeds similar to Thunderbolt. Now, I don't know if that's Thunderbolt 3 or 2 or 1, but
Yep.
basically a wireless data transfer protocol through MagSafe by way of the ultra wideband chip.
Yeah, and I mean, even if it's just like USB 3 speeds, that's better than anything that we've had before.
Sure.
And oh my goodness, imagine if you could get something like that with the iPad. I mean, because
That would be
right now
cool.
I'm using my iPad as my main computer at my writing desk,
Mhm.
and having that camera kit dongle thing sticking out of the side of the iPad Pro is the most annoying thing ever, because it sticks out way far. So it's like, I, I want something more elegant for the iPad. That's what I want. At any rate, though, uh, yeah, I know Andrew's got to run, and we got a couple of more things that we wanted to talk about before we were done. We're sticking to 90 minutes. That's what we're going to do. That's how it's going to
Cool.
work.
Andrew, I appreciate you coming on and the healthy debate
Absolutely.
and maybe
Yeah.
obviously some education on the Twitter there.
It didn't seem like there was much debate. Like it seemed like we were all kind of pretty much in agreement
Oh,
just,
yeah.
just
Well,
in
arguing,
this
like,
in this show.
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think also with the chat, kind of clarifying points back and forth, and sort of triangulating the whole thing, because this is a conversation we have about Apple pretty often.
That's
Apple
true.
releases whatever it is, and there's the for, the against, and then we try and actually figure out what it does.
Yes,
Well, hopefully
I'm
there's
sure we'll do
something-
it again soon.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we'll make it a regular thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll just
Thanks,
schedule.
guys.
Yeah.
We'll schedule this talk quarterly.
I'll see you guys soon.
All right,
Later
thanks,
on, man.
Andrew.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
coming. All right, so not only do we have that,
yeah,
I saw this and I was kind of interested. We don't have to talk too long about this, but
I didn't read too much. I didn't read it too much, so I'm gonna need you to explain to people. But I have a hard time believing this. This
well,
will
I do
actually
too.
happen.
I mean, this is Apple flexing a little bit.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I blame them, because this is like the UK version of patent trolling, right? And if you're not familiar with patent trolling, patent trolling is basically, somebody goes out and they buy a patent for some piece of intellectual property that is integral in a technology or something like that, and then they hold the companies that use that patent for ransom in the legal system, suing them for using the thing that they'd already been using, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, it's some kind of 4K technology that a company went out and bought the patents for, and it's integral to the use of the phones. And so they're suing Apple. First, it was like for multi-millions, and now it's for multi-billions. And Apple is just kind of saying, we'd rather not do business in England, in the UK, if this company is allowed to sue us successfully for $7 billion for something that we've been using.
Well,
and
haven't they won some other things with Apple, like some other lawsuits? Like, I don't know if Apple's ever paid, right? But I mean, it's one thing to win a lawsuit; it's another thing to actually get paid.
Well, yeah,
right.
And I mean, Apple has been, there've been judgment against Apple for like tax type things and that kind of stuff. This is the first one that I remember where it's like a third party who purchases this patent specifically for the purpose of like holding Apple or another company hostage, right?
Yep.
And it's a pretty big thing, and it's pretty detrimental to companies who have this happen to them. It can happen to people. It can happen all over the place. And I think that Apple's basically saying to the UK, like, you know, if they can get this judgment, then something is wrong with your system, and so therefore
they're going quiet riot. They're just not going to take it.
No, they're not
anymore.
They're not going to take it anymore, at least.
No. can't even sing along to it. We'll get in trouble. You know what I mean?
No. Well, no, we won't, because we're not monetized.
That's true. That's true.
Although YouTube could put ads on it and pay Quiet Riot, or whoever owns the rights to that.
Wait, who does that song? We're not going to take it.
Oh, it is.
Is it Twisted Sister?
Yeah, it is Twisted Sister. Okay. And Quiet Riot was "Come On, Feel the Noise."
Come on. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Which was a cover that I didn't know it was a cover until years later.
I only found that out recently. Okay, we're going out. We're doing that. We're doing what we did on
Sunday.
I know.
I know. Well, it was part of Sunday too, wasn't it?
I mean, it's not Painfully Honest Tech. It's Painfully Honest Live.
Yes, it is Painfully Honest Live. Right. But I really think that, no, Apple's not going to leave the UK market. But if anybody has the sort of market presence to push back on this, then it's going to be Apple, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully, I mean, this is something that it's not only an Apple issue; it's an everybody issue, and patent trolls have been a problem for a long time. So hopefully, this I just saw the headline and I was like, oh, okay, what are they talking about here?
The UK market, but then you read in the details and it's like, okay, like you said, there's something wrong with the system, right? It's absolutely ridiculous that it can get to that point.
Yeah, where they actually had, so Optus Cellular Technology owns several wireless patents and regularly sues companies that infringe on these patents. So they won $506 million from Apple in the U.S., but upon appeal, the federal judge turned it down. Latest patent lawsuit from them has Apple on the hook for $7 billion.
Now, didn't they win one that was $9 million? Didn't they win one?
They won one in the UK, and then Optus somehow came back with another one. Maybe I don't know the UK law system enough to really understand everything about how it worked.
Like I said, it's one thing to win and this and that and not have the judgment in your favor. It's another thing to actually collect the money. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because they can just not cut the check, right? And they have to,
Yeah, I mean, Apple's lawyer says here, I'm not sure that Apple's position is it should indeed be able to reflect on the terms and decide whether commercially it is right to accept them or leave the UK market. So they're just basically saying, there should be some semblance of fairness here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the patent trolling thing is something that pops up every once in a while, and it's really frustrating because it's a loophole in patent law that has existed for a while, and nobody's really figured out a way to get around it. Mm-hmm. So it just keeps happening, Yep. Now, I just wanted to touch on that briefly, but really, I wanted to go and talk about not just this story is specifically. I know I did not mean to use Boy Genius Report as my main source this evening.
Come on, because they're awesome over there.
Lord knows they are not exactly in the highest regard in terms of journalistic integrity. Mm-hmm. But the Pixel 6, this is about leaking the name of the Pixel 6 XL, which is not necessarily what I'm all that interested in.
I thought it was going to be called Pro based on processors leaks.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be called the Pixel 6 Gigantor. I don't care what it's called. I just,
Well, apparently, so just really quick, because I know that OnLeaks had some recent, renders of his, and that camera module, the strip, is a much less pronounced and a little bit thinner, a little bit lower than the ones from Processor. Now, again, processors are based off of our renders based on I think photos or CADs, whereas OnLeaks always use CAD files, like literally what's used to make the devices. So I'm
Right.
inclined to believe these a little bit more. I still think it looks good. I like it.
Yeah, I like this too. I mean, I
like
know
it.
that
It's different.
yesterday I saw some colorful versions of the Pixel 6 that were
I
like
think
more
weren't those
uniformly colored.
those were Daniel's, like, they were concepts, not leaks necessarily. Were
Yeah, yeah, they were concepts for sure, but
they? From
I
Zone of
just was
Tech,
like,
right?
yeah, Zone of Tech, right?
Yeah.
They were concepts for sure, but I was just like, God, I hope they don't look like that because I have liked this design since I first saw it, and I think it was John that had the first renders of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, some people were like making fun of it
Mm-hmm.
at first, but to me, this looks really good. And you and I were talking the other day about how it kind of is reminiscent of the Nexus 6P.
Yeah. Well, the Nexus Pixp, the camera module is at the top, and it was more rounded on the edges, obviously. But I
Right.
mean, it had like a strip going across. So this is the kind of vibe it gives me, an in-display fingerprint sensor. And if the specs are read to believed, I mean, this is supposed to be a 5,000 milliamp battery. Again, milliamp.
Right.
Milliamp
Yeah.
battery. Sorry, Andrew. Milliamp battery. And apparently a 50 megapixel main shooter. And normally I would go, okay, whatever megapixels, right? But the
Right.
fact it's a 50 megapixel in a Google camera, like,
Yeah.
and that has a record going back to the Nexus devices to having fabulous cameras, that makes me really excited.
Yeah.
Like the amount of detail and everything, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on record as since the Pixel. So the last Pixel that I got was the 4. It didn't really like set my world on fire. I didn't even
love the
bother with the
4.
5.
Did you have the 4 that was like black and white?
Yeah, I think so.
That was their sexiest design. I like
See,
that.
I don't know. I mean, it's been a while since I saw it, but this is the first Pixel that I've seen that this backplate jumps out at me, and I'm like, it's very bold. It's very striking. It's sort of more aggressive than the Pixels have been.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been part of my problem with Pixels is their design has been like sort of milk toasty,
Mm-hmm.
right? They just haven't had a lot of flair to the designs. They've had some cool colors. They've had, but the colors, they use silly adjectives to describe the colors.
Mm-hmm.
This is more aggressive. This is more sort of an industrial look that is more attractive to me.
Well,
so
the Plus model, or the Pro models are calling it, basically the bigger one, is supposed to have telephoto, wide, ultra wide, and the regular one, I'm going off of muscle memory here, is supposed to have just wide and ultra wide.
mhm.
No necessary telephoto. But again, as we've seen with Pixels, like processing and whatnot, and I can show you a Pixel 4a photo from this past weekend at Lake Louise.
Right.
It's gonna blow your mind. In fact, you know what? I'll bring it up here. I'm confident. Like I said, it's a Pixel camera. I mean, they're always awesome, right? Like they can't walk back from that, right?
No, and I don't see why they would.
Mm-hmm.
The camera's been the only reason people have been buying Pixels forever.
I mean, it's their go-to, right? I mean, that's their thing. You know, you're going to get a solid camera no matter what price point you go with the Pixel devices.
Yep.
I mean, I have you know how Google Photos pops up with like memories?
Yep.
Right? It'll pop up, and then I go to look at like which phone did I take this with? It says Pixel 2, and I'm like, no way, that was a Pixel 2. Damn, that looks good, right?
Yeah, no, they've always been super impressive. The big problem for me has always been that the phones themselves haven't held up to the same level across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people have told me that the 5 is really worth checking out. And this is one of the first Pixels that I've seen and just been like, oh, I would want to carry that phone.
Yep. Let me show you this. I'm going to share the screen here. My wife took this with the Pixel 4a, no processing or anything like that, over the weekend, like yesterday.
Right.
Like, sorry, we were out there yesterday. Yeah. So she took these are all Pixel 4a photos that she took, like straight out of the camera. Like, look at that.
Yeah,
I mean,
looks really good.
That's how the lake looks. I took this of them just chilling by the water. It felt good to put it was hot out there. It felt good to put our feet in that glacier water, only temporarily. Now, this one is kind of distorted, and I'll tell you why. She was using one of those moment lenses, but she didn't quite raise it up properly.
Right, right.
But you can add on a moment lens there, and away you go. But I mean, look at that,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, they look really good. I mean, it's
a $350 phone.
yeah, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, these days it's hard to take a bad picture with most smartphones. And you know what? I'm gonna like actually commit a bit of heresy here.
Uh-oh.
Um, so for the first half of the year, I was using the S21 Ultra, and I have to say, as we've discussed before, I used to have to always fight with Samsung cameras to get a decent picture.
Yep.
The S21 Ultra
Mm-hmm.
took great pictures like every time. I'd use them for thumbnails, I'd use them for B-roll shots, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Always taking great pictures, the color spot on, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I went back to the iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
and there's something weird, especially about the iPhone selfie camera when you're doing video. That, like, you can see it in the most recent video I did. I shot on the iPhone, and I tried to color correct, but it gives a little bit of like an orangey hue, which I don't understand. And it's like, in terms of taking photos, I'm having to like really work at it to get the photos that I'm looking for out of the iPhone, whereas it was much easier with the S21 Ultra. And I never thought that I would say anything like that. But it's true. So Samsung, I don't think people have talked very much about the S21 cameras.
I've
But
had a better time with my S21 over I would say the Note 10, but I think that's to be expected. I didn't have any of the 20 series. Though actually that's no lie. I did remember I
You had
tested
the
the
FE.
20. I had the 20 FE for a short period.
Yeah.
But look at this photo here. This is like a forced perspective. This is from the S21 Plus.
Yeah.
And so I just stood in front of this pine tree, tapped on the tree there,
Right.
and like I just love this shot.
Yeah.
And it's just like wow, right?
The colors look really good. Like, I've been really impressed with, the S20. Like, the iPhone camera, to me, now that I've used it a little bit more in comparison to others, I don't think the iPhone camera is as good as this year as it was in previous years. Now, but if I'm usually taking video and photos of myself.
Which iPhone are you using?
The 12 Pro Max.
You're using the 12. Okay, so I still have the 11 Pro Max, and I'll say this: I will still grab my 11 Pro Max if I can only pick one photo and I'm going out to do pictures.
Right.
Like if I'm going on vacations like that, because of my own use case in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, like you said, with my Samsung, like I did take this picture twice. Okay. So let me see if I can go back here. Yeah, because my son stepped in the shot there. So I did take it twice, right?
Right.
But I mean, I would still, even if I cropped him out, I think it's still decent, right? And
Mhm.
then like my wife, here's me actually taking the shot. My wife took this picture. So
That's just so meta, dude.
Do you like that?
Photo of a photo.
Photo of a photo, and there's the photo. Here's the setup. Here's how it's done. Here's the setup. Check out the wrinkles on the back of my head. Here's how it looks after.
I saw, just a brief aside, I saw a TikTok yesterday, or like one of those like fail videos or something.
Yeah.
And this woman was in an Uber, and the driver had like a really close cropped hairdo, like just like kind of quasi shaved, and the back of his head was like Shar-Pei wrinkled. Like
what?
Yeah, like wrinkled up like the dog Shar-Pei, just wrinkled up like that. And I was like,
oh my God.
That is. I mean, I've seen it before, but it was much more pronounced in this guy than I'd seen it in others. So yeah,
wow,
very very bizarre.
Wow.
But yeah, it's so. I have to say, I'm kind of high on the Pixel.
I can't
coming
wait
into
for it.
this.
I'm super excited for the 5A. Obviously, I expect the 5A to come at $399 because it will be. We've already know from Max Weinbach, who's got a very good track record. He's always said that it's going to be more expensive. I can't see Google adding $100 to last year's. I can see $399, so $50 more. And obviously we're going to kind of see like a stripped down 5, just like
Right.
how the 4A was a stripped down 4. Um, and so that's going to be a great, Pixel get you started, for most consumers kind of thing. That's going to be
Yep.
really exciting from the budget financial savvy side. If you, what do you want to call it? Value cheap. What do you want to call it? We'll call it budget.
Well, I mean,
And,
let's just call them like they're not budget, they're mid-range sort of. I think
yeah,
that now that flagships in my mind are not going to be
I
the
would call it
phone that
mid-range.
most people gravitate towards.
Yeah.
We have to come up with a name for these mid-range phones that are really good that most people are going to buy.
Hello there.
Right?
Yeah.
So
So that has me excited, but then like you always kind of expect kind of like a spec bump in the flagship one, right? And then
right.
and here Google's going big or go home, right? So that has me again because you're going to have that typical Pixel quality image that you can really get this awesome thing from one lens, but now you have potentially three, and then when you add on the extra megapixels for the extra details, I mean, just has me excited when you combine that with their software. I really want to see some more improvements on the video side. I thought the 5 series and the 4A did improve on it did improve on video, but not as much I'd like. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just
Right.
saying, I really hope there's a big improvement there with the video stuff. So yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this unfortunately, as we were discussing earlier today, like the number of phones that are coming out is dwindling,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like the quality of the phones that are still standing is improving. Like I can't say enough good things about the S21 Ultra. It really like and from even Samsung phones that I like the Note phones and everything else. After 1, 2, maybe 3 months, they would start to frustrate me, and I would go back to the iPhone.
Yep.
But
Mm-hmm.
I used the S21 Ultra for a good solid 5 months,
Mm-hmm.
and was kind of bummed when I had to move away from it. And that's never happened for me on a Samsung phone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited about what this could be. I mean, I think that it's kind of weird because in years past, we would already have seen at least the announcement of the Pixel, right? That usually happens at Google I/O or somewhere around that time.
We would have some sort of like teaser, whatever kind of thing. But the 5A is going to be announced apparently, according to the leaks again,
Yeah.
August, and I think we'll see the 6 series probably right around, if not before or shortly after Apple announcement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't have to compete with Samsung.
Hard to say because Samsung's actually come out publicly and said that we don't know if we're gonna have enough chips or this and that for the FE series and everything like that, right? And like, I would really, if I was a case manufacturer, actually, I told this to a case manufacturer the other day on the phone, I would be riding that Samsung 21 FE train really hard because of how well the 20 FE was received last year. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and the fact that like Samsung usually in August they have the Note series, and that's kind of the phone that they'll push in that fall season.
October, November.
But they're not gonna have the Note this year.
They said
and
that for sure? Is that for sure?
Yeah, I mean, ever since the beginning of the year, they have been saying they're skipping 2021 with the Note.
That's a bummer. I love the Note.
And I don't know that it's a bummer, and I don't know that it's a good choice, but I think that they're going ride or die with the Fold. And I still don't think that the Fold is ready for, I don't think the masses are ready for the Fold. Let's say that.
If there's a Fold FE that gets more people into it because of price point, that adopts more people over into folding. Maybe that's their folk. I don't know. Like, it's so weird to read what Samsung's doing right now. It's just,
I just feel like Samsung.
Have you ever seen a Fold out in the wild? I mean, I know we haven't been out in the wild that much, but
well,
now
I
that I'm getting out there more, I don't see them.
No, I mean they are in terms of like everyday use, average consumers in just around in your town or whatever. They are most definitely unicorns, right? So I don't know that Samsung in one generation gets the price down to the point and the quality at the level that it needs to be for a device like that to be able to be an affordable option for more of the average consumers who would go for the Note or the higher end S series phones. Because $2,000 is still too expensive.
That's pricey.
$1,800 is still too expensive.
And even
If it's
even if you space that out with a tab, or we want to call it with your carrier, I mean, that's an extra however much on top of your bill, right?
yeah. I mean, you're talking about a $50 or $60 monthly payment instead of a $40 or $45 payment.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
And that might not be a big deal to many people, but at the same time, like, I think that the average person who keeps their phone for 2 to 3, if not more years, would still be a little trepidatious about picking up a phone that has all those moving parts that could, it's not waterproof in any way.
Yeah. I know so many people that have devices that like they should be able to take a tumble. They put a screen protector on, they put a case in it, and even though no case manufacturer will tell you guaranteed drop proof. Nobody
Right.
will. Because I've seen phones with a huge, thick OtterBox, for example, a Defender on there, drop from 5 feet onto carpet and the screen smashes. It just hits the right way.
Yeah, it's the physics of how it hits. Yeah.
And I've literally dropped my Samsung here from 12 feet onto concrete. Not a thing. Right? So
Yeah.
it just, and I have nothing but a thin Patak on there. It depends. So like, and then you're going, and these things don't have moving parts, right? Like very little, right? And now you're going to introduce something that folds.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Do you know what
so
I mean? And again, it's not a knock against folding phones. I'm excited about them. I don't see the use case for myself personally. We've talked about this to death before. It's just that, people are clumsy, and consumers in general, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I'll say this, like, I complained about Samsung phones and their sort of brittleness in the past when they had like all the glass was glossy and it felt like it was, the thinness of a piece of paper. But I don't know if all the S21 models felt this way, but the matte black S21 Ultra felt like it was in an OtterBox all by itself.
It's a unique black color. Hey, it's nice.
Yeah,
right?
it was heavy and it felt solid.
Yeah.
And I did have a case on it, but it was just like just like a silicone case. I had the silicone case that had the S Pen in it. But I never had any anxiety about dropping it. Even so that's an achievement. And I think if we go backwards to something that's fragile like the Fold, I mean, as Franklin says, like back here, he said, the Note was never for the mass market, which is true. The S line was like the mass market phone. However, the Note was never $2,000. So they have to bring, if the S21 Ultra is what, $1,300 when it first came out. If they can't bring whatever folding phone they want to use in the place of the Note this year in at $1,500, then they're going to really struggle to sell that phone, I think.
I mean, let's just face it. I mean, just like who said this, something about the masses? Like the Note was never meant for the masses, right?
Right.
It's for people that want a big phone. Now, would I recommend a folding device as they stand right now to my brother-in-law who's in construction?
No.
No. And he knows that, right? Like, so
Right.
he has an S20 FE and he loves it, right? So, I mean, it's not to say that folding phones can't be for everybody, but I think most people know, like my wife, for example, like she would not take the Pixel 4a from me unless I had a case. So she has a nice Moment case on there, but now she can add the extra lenses and everything, right? But there's no way she was going to take it before, right? So, I know tons of people like that. They will not, like, they'll go in and they're getting a phone, whatever, and they love this phone, but there's no cases for it there. They'll pick something different. I cannot walk out of the store without a case. Like, they just do not trust themselves. They had bad experience, this and that. Those are the kind of people that are not going to get folding devices, right?
Yeah.
So again, if there's an FE folding, it should be very interesting.
It's music. Don't worry.
Okay. Which should be very interesting to see.
Hello there.
To see what the.
Yes, science.
It should be very interesting to see like how they market that, right?
Right.
Like, You know,
Yeah.
if you're in an office thing like us, and you have inside pockets, and you baby your devices like how we do, then maybe that's for you, right? So
Yeah. We'll have to see. I mean, Samsung is definitely, we've kind of complained that they put out too many phones in the past, and now they're not. Now that it feels like they're not putting out enough.
that's
I don't
what
know.
they do though. They saturate the market. There's something new every couple months from them. That's always been their strategy. They do that for TVs. They do that for everything.
Yeah. But it's funny talking about going in and buying a phone. Now, this is going to be my last little aside. We're going to be done here in a minute.
Sure.
But when I was getting the new iPhone a few weeks ago, or a month ago, or however long ago it was, I wanted to get one from the Verizon store.
Okay.
Because they were having deals, right?
Mhm.
And so I go to my regular Verizon store, and there's this guy that works there. And I've had him serve me before, and he is the creepiest, most annoying dude ever in the world. Okay, he's kind of pasty looking. He's bald. He's probably like 30 something, whatever. And I remember him telling me that he is by training a mortician. Okay, so just imagine this bald, pasty guy whose father was a mortician, and he has been trained as a mortician, but is working at the Verizon store. Right?
Does he do this a lot? Does he go?
No, but he gives that sense of so part of it is like the new COVID protocols or whatever, I'm sure. But I go into the store and I'm like, well, I want to get 2 iPhones. I see you guys are, whatever. I want to upgrade 2 lines. And he immediately goes, well, he takes out a pad of paper and he's like, well, upgrading 2 lines, that's about $500 a phone. And then you got cases and screen protectors, and that's about this much money. So you're looking at about this much money to do that. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Dude, I mean, is that what you do to people? You come in, you write down $1,200 for 2 phones?
This is somebody who doesn't know how to sell. He doesn't know how to sell value. He doesn't know how to
Well, I turned around and walked the fuck out.
Good for you. That's not how sales works. You want to sell you want to sell a solution, damn the product. If you can sell the solution, you can relate to people, you can sell them anything.
I turned around, I walked out, and then I went home and I called customer service for Verizon.
Did you go Karen on them? Did you go Karen?
I fucking went Karen.
You went Karen?
I went like I should have gone Karen in his face, but I didn't. So maybe only half Karen. I called customer service. I told them what the fuck he did. And then I went to the website and I got his manager's email address and I fucking emailed her.
Did you get him fired?
I hope so. Because that shit pissed me off. I didn't like that guy in the first place, and then that shit pissed me off. Because it's not for me. Like, I know better.
Okay, I'm going to show you a diagram of a Verizon employee. Show me where he touched you.
He touched me in my wallet.
In the feels.
Yeah. But that's the thing, man. You can Franklin's right. You can never go. You never go full Karen, or you end up online like that girl from today, right?
Did you see that thing in the
God.
rolling around the ground? Are you serious?
I did. I watched it.
Someone called it like someone commented or something about like white panic or something like that. Panic attacking. White panic attacking.
So
like
I don't
panic as a way to attack. Like, oh my god.
Well,
the whole thing. I'm going. Is this the world we live in now?
It is. She was chasing that woman around the store saying, "Get away from me."
She was lunging at her. Get away from me. What? You're going the wrong way, woman.
And I felt I felt bad for anybody else in the store because, talk about awkward. But
confusing Ace here. He's like, wait, what?
No, there was a young woman in her 20s in New Jersey at, I think it was the Spring Hills Mall in New Jersey. At a Victoria's Secret.
Victoria's Secret of all places. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess Tropic Thunder 2 full, Karen. Yes, please. Please.
Yes, that has to become a movie.
So this young woman was in the store shopping, and there was an African-American lady in there. And I guess she had a coupon for free panties. That's why she was there. She's like, I'm just here for my free panties. and 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 so the video starts with this young woman going at the African American woman, the black woman, and like swatting at her, and the black woman like ducking away. And then when the young woman notices that she has her camera out and is filming her, she backs away and like cringes down onto the floor and starts like screaming. And then she like falls on the floor and she's trying to pretend like she's like fainting, but she like gets down on her knees and then her elbows, and then she uses her purse to like nestle her head as a pillow. It's like you're not fooling anyone.
So DeFranco has like the best clips on his show. Like if you don't watch Philip DeFranco daily, I'm pretty sure everybody here would like Philip DeFranco. He's
the thing is,
he's got the whole thing.
Sometimes he covers stuff that I like, and then sometimes he covers the YouTube drama that just annoys the crap out of me.
I don't.
So it's
he puts timestamps in, so I usually skip that, and anything about Trump, I just skip. I'm like tired of hearing about that guy. Done.
Yeah.
Done.
But yeah, this and of course, Twitter was out in force.
No.
The internet came down like a ton of bricks on this young lady.
Figure out, like, why is Victoria's Secret trending, and why am I not seeing the kind of pictures I would hope to see if I go to that trend?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you know, you have a certain expectation.
Yeah, like,
but
come on, it's like a candy store for us.
So I guess they found this woman. They found where she works. She's a teacher's aide.
No.
Yeah, she's a teacher's aide in like an elementary school.
No.
So they're like giving out the phone number and the email address for the school and everything else, and telling people to call and demand her resignation and exactly hot like spit take cam right there.
You know
but
what,
yeah,
this is the iPad selfie camera. Pretty good, hey?
Yeah, it's not bad.
It was 12 megapixels in the back. It's 7 on this side, but I mean, it's an iPad. It's brilliant.
Yeah. So I guess not only that, but they found that she belongs to some sort of colostomy bag wearer, like online forum.
Oh my!
Or dating
God.
Site or something like that.
You can't write this.
No, you cannot. So the whole time, because I saw that first, and the whole time I was watching her, I just kept looking for the colostomy bag.
Oh my God.
I mean, on one hand, I would not wish the full wrath of the internet on anybody. But if anyone deserves the full wrath of the internet today, no matter how much it might be outside of her character normally to do that, if it is or isn't, that young lady deserves what she's getting today, because that was totally out of control.
You know what the sad thing is there'll be something next week and we'll forget about this.
Of course.
The only memorable Karen in the last year and a half I can remember is Amy Cooper, because she was the first during the pandemic.
There have been some that I remember. So yes, there is a video. I guess the video is like 21 minutes long. There's a full video that's 21 minutes long. That's how long this whole thing went on, and I only watched the clips. But if you look up Victoria's Secret Karen, you will find it.
Okay, so there's a subreddit that I read all the time. Public freakouts.
Yeah, it actually came across public freakouts today. I got a. Oh, man. I actually, and there is a link in public freakouts.
Wait a minute, has Review Tech USA talked about this yet? Because he does Karen stuff all the time.
I haven't seen what he put out yet today, because I get like a daily feed.
By the way, we can get Rich on again. I talked to him recently.
All right.
Yeah, but
the bastard.
He streams like every night, like on his new channel. So I don't.
Well, then we'll just. So we'll stream on his. We'll stream here, and then we'll go over and stream there.
Oh, that's right. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just make a date of it.
We're 8 minutes overtime, but that's okay.
Yeah, because I felt like, people, the diehards, the 20+ people, the diehards who have shown up tonight on the new channel, deserved
13 subscribers tonight, I think. If I'm wrong.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, if you're here,
still here,
and haven't subscribed to the new channel, then please do, just so we can continue this live streaming thing. But
you and I are here on Tuesdays.
Yes.
It's interesting how this. I'm glad we're back together, man. I missed you.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do any more live stuff? Like I do my things on Tuesdays. So I'm going live here in 30 minutes on my channel.
That's right.
Zach Talk Stack. So I'll see you guys over there in 30 minutes.
Any mods, if you can drop Zach's link in the chat.
10:15 Eastern, Tuesdays and Thursdays. But are you gonna go live Any other days on here? Because I do Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I'm dedicated for us to be here on Tuesdays. Like
Yeah, I probably will. I mean, now that I'm going to do this, and don't have to worry about it messing up the real channel, the Painfully Honest Tech channel. I can go on here anytime I want. I can game on here. I don't really care. So
swear.
I can, and probably will, although I don't want to make a habit of it, because I expect this channel to be monetized within weeks.
I think swearing like here and there just to get a point across, but if you're going Joe Pesci, like Goodfellas, no. Right? Also, next time let's coordinate, because I have the same shirt.
Well, I wore this. You know why I wore this?
Because you like Star Wars.
And I wanted to make sure that we, in fact,
stayed on target.
I didn't expect the battery talk to go for a full hour.
It was a good discussion,
but it was.
My whole gripe about this whole thing is everybody else lists milliamp batteries, and it seems to be the industry. It seems to be the industry norm. But the thing is that what also bugs me in the back of my head is that I know why Apple doesn't. Like, I understand why they don't, but I'm 110%. I said this before. I said it again. I'm 110% sure that if the milliamp hours were more clearly stated and more like right there in the description, right there for us to find right away, that the shit show that happened today would not have happened.
See, I think it might not have been about that.
It would have been more of a talk about expensive. That's what it would have been.
Yeah, it would have been some kind of hot take about something related to it, whatever way it was, or anything like that. Because that's the way it is with any Apple product, especially when it's a new Apple product, and this is a new product for them. So, and then next year or later on this year, when they get finally reverse wireless stuff through MagSafe, everybody will say, well, Android had it first, when they're bitching now that it doesn't have it. It's like, well, do you want it or not? Anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, this has been I don't know, I've been thinking we should just like make this the podcast again. Why not?
Well, I mean, don't you have your own separate thing you're doing as well? Your other
I do, but I mean, I still have the Painfully Honest Tech podcast sitting up there too. So
we'll figure it out. We'll be a little transparent here with our friends here, because the dedicated few here. Jason and I, we're working on a strategy where I will help Jason with more of the back end, because he has a beautiful back end. And
I do. Been working on it.
And yeah, there you go. And
I've been tenderizing it on this chair for the past 18 months.
Okay, slow down. And he'll keep on doing the creative stuff, but we got to figure out. The main focus is obviously Painfully Honest Tech and publishing videos and consistency and however many times. And then, there might be evergreen stuff that I'm going to work on, the business relationship stuff, because I know a lot of the brands and whatnot, and I'm good with the emails and kind of stuff like that. At least I am with other people, but not necessarily my own stuff. We're working on stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm glad that Zach's back around, and I enjoyed the solo. I enjoyed doing the solo. You have a different kind of conversation with the chat when you're on your own. But I also like just having the banter back and forth with the other people.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys.
Maybe we'll get in a fight in a few months, and we'll just take a break again.
Well, see, we didn't get in a fight last time. We just had a total misunderstanding
It was
on both ends at the same time.
Gross miscommunication. It was just
because really,
it was silly.
Well, really, the whole thing about doing the solo thing instead of the podcast thing was just that I wanted to do solo for a while. It wasn't that like nobody had a fight. There wasn't any kind of like falling out, and then that's why I went solo. We had talked about it, and that's what happened. So
it just happened.
Yeah.
Like we had a conversation here on Twitter and a conversation going here on Facebook, and then it just happened. And,
and it was at a time when I was on a break too. So I was
and I know for me, and I know for a lot of people that listen and watch us and everything, they're like, "What happened?" And there was nothing. And then I made some stupid tweets. and then whatever, and then things came around. So
Yeah.
that's it. It's water. It's water under the bridge, honestly.
At the end of the day, yeah, and Genesis is asking about Viper. Viper's been back on the show a couple of times, and I mean, right now we're just kind of doing the thing. Started out with Zach and I. It feels good with just the two of us for the moment, So I don't really have any plans beyond just continuing to sort of play this by ear. So
yeah,
I'm sure Viper will be around at some point.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of things we need to work on, like well, I mean, like we didn't even talk about making this the podcast again. So like we need to figure out because in terms of links and with distribution, like we need to figure that out. But I mean, the priority right now is consistency and messaging with Painfully Honest Tech, something that also jives equally with the algorithm and growth, because Jason feels somewhat stagnant right now, but I think tech YouTube in general is kind of stagnant, depending on what kind of channel you are. So like I've been telling Jason, don't freak out, right? But I'm more than happy to help if we can get that kind of correct schedule going, and Zach does this so many hours every day, and and maybe puts this together, and then Jason does this, and then if the stuff's not in the folder at a certain time, then the work doesn't get done because there's a schedule, right? So and that's what we have to get done, because you have to have that in place. It can't just be randomness all over the place. Otherwise, you go nuts, and you burn out, and yeah.
Well, my thing is working, like I'm really good at doing the work and being creative, and I can get things done relatively quickly, but the larger schedule, like, and making all that larger stuff make sense is something that I'm not as good at. So I figure with the two of us working and making a schedule and saying this kind of video coming out on this day, these are the ones that we're going to do. It honestly, like, Painfully Honest Tech is a business, and I've been running it like a corner store shop owner, inventory as needed, et cetera, et cetera. I need to run it more like a real business. Mm-hmm. So that's what Zach's going to help me with. And I'm excited for that. Because it will take some pressure off of me in terms of having to worry about multiple levels of all that stuff. And so yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, we're just gonna figure things out, and it's gonna. I mean, you guys will see some. I think, in general, let's just put it this way. It's gonna be really good for you as the viewer, right? Like we're not going drastic this way. We're just more consistency. We're going to be upping production, and messaging and whatnot, and just we're still going to have the banters like this back and forth where it's complete randomness. Like 1 minute we're talking about a battery, next thing we're talking about the latest Prince album, if there was one.
Which there is one.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think there was a single that came out like a month ago. Okay. But that single is in preparation for an album that may be coming out this month, if I remember correctly, but I'm not exactly sure.
Do you remember when Warner Bros? Oh my God, we're gonna go right to the. Do you remember when Warner Bros had their fire a few years ago? In that fire, there was a bunch of like film and whatnot lost, but also records. So the Tragically Hip Canadian band, like national treasure up here, and their lead singer Gordon Downey, died a few years back. During the recording of, I think it was their second or third album called Road Apples. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what a road apple is,
I do.
Most people don't. There were 6 or 7 tracks that they cut off there, and they were put into storage. They were thought to be lost in that fire. They found it. They found those 7 or 8 tracks and didn't re-record them, but cleaned it all up, and re-released an album, 6 or 7 piece album there, a track album called Saskadelphia. And it's so good. There's tracks on there that were previously only ever recorded or released as live tracks, or you would only hear them in concerts. Right. And now these are the actual album versions that were originally cut from that. It's so good. And it's so cool that they're finding stuff like that. And actually, the Tragically Hip, the remaining members they've actually been doing TikTok, like sing-alongs and like duets with people like on TikTok and everything. So
that's cool.
It's been kind of cool to see.
Yeah, as Ace says here, that Prince. I watched. I think it was a 60 Minutes story on Prince not too long ago, where they went in, they talked to the guy who's like the guy who's overseeing Paisley Park now, and they've turned it into a museum. But they asked him about the vault, and there is an actual vault in the basement of Paisley Park that had
Mhm.
all of Prince's like memorabilia, but also like just stacks and stacks and racks
Yep.
of unreleased recordings.
Mhm.
But I guess at some point, Prince actually forgot the combination to the vault. And so he took to just like stacking things outside the vault.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm just getting this like, I'm just getting this vision of Prince, like 5'2" Prince, just like carrying these tapes down and be like, I forgot the combination.
Tech for
I'll just
now
leave it
asks,
here.
do you guys prefer exclusively podcasting tech talks off of YouTube? Will it perform well without videos? Well, with the softwares that we use here, Tech for Now, we have the ability just to take that audio out and
Yep.
then just basically cut it up in whatever audio software we use and then throw it up there, right? That's what we've done.
Yeah.
So we try not to, well, in the past, we've tried not to use a lot of visuals. And if we do, we describe as much as we can.
Yeah.
Right.
And use links in the show notes and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So like typically we would do the show live on Tuesdays and then the audio would come out on Spotify, Apple, on Thursdays. Right. Because you would upload on Wednesday, would take however long to get in. So that seems to work well for us in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. And the nice thing about Restream is you can pull the, like, I know that StreamYard might do it now, but Restream, you can pull the audio without the video.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also pull multi-track audio. So that's that is pretty cool. So like if we were to publish this and you know your volume's a little low tonight, I could bump it up in post because I can get.
Yeah, I don't know why, man. Like I'm on orange on my thing. I don't want to touch my gain.
You know, one thing I was wondering.
I know on my thing is on my through StreamYard. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm wondering like if you said you were doing the audio through the ATEM, or are you going through?
No, the audio is going. My mic is going straight into my Scarlett and then straight into the laptop. It's separate.
Yeah, I don't know because it was fine the other day and now it's just low. But anyway, I can in post. I can in post like just rip that stuff off.
Tech
and then
for Now also asks about clips. We do intend on does intend on releasing and launching a clips channel. So it'll be clips from these live streams. So you'll have this for the live stream. You'll have a clips channel for clips, and then you'll have Painfully Honest Tech for traditional long form published media.
Yep.
So it sounds like a lot of work, but like part of what I want to do in the back end is take tonight's thing and find 2 or 3 clips. And I guarantee you there's 2 or 3 clips in there, especially with Andrew Edwards. And of course, we would have to get Andrew's permission to make, a minute and a half, 2 minute, max 3 minute clip. We have to discuss again what we want for length. Right.
May I suggest the Marsha portion? I should have marked down the time code on that. But yeah, because I really think that's the perfect way to describe those arguments that people always have.
Like I said, I feel like we keep on repeating. Maybe we should wrap this up because we were supposed to 20 minutes ago.
I know. But we finished 20 minutes ago. We just happened to keep talking.
I know, but I have to pee and then I have my thing in 20 minutes.
All right. Well,
Plus
at any rate,
my wife has called me twice so far.
We are going to be done. Thank you, folks who have come over and hung out. The new channel. Well, it's not really a new channel, but the channel that we're now going to be living on for the rest of the live ever. It's gonna start to grow and explode and do the things that channels do. But you guys were here first, and I just want to thank you for that.
Yeah,
anyway,
so make sure you guys share out the link to the new channel here. I've already sent out a tweet tonight thanking Andrew Edwards and everything like that. So if you guys want to retweet that or whatever you want to do to get people in here so they know, because I think there's probably a lot of people on the main channel that still think so. Jason will let his people know over there in the way he needs to and everything like that. But it helps out when you guys let the community know. We do appreciate you ride or die people that came over here tonight. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Yeah. And it'd be nice if YouTube would send out notifications to the people who come to the channel whenever I do things so that they would know what I'm doing. But that's too much to ask, I suppose. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Zach, thanks for being here. Andrew Edwards, thanks for being here once again. We're back in the Painfully Honest saddle, doing the things that we love to do so well. You guys have been awesome. be back again with a video tomorrow and some more live streaming later on this week. So until then, until the next time, my name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This has been the Painfully Honest Tech live show where we've been live. Until the next time.